Hola, ¿cómo estás, Anabela?
Estoy bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien. Feliz de estar aquí contigo y compartirte con nuestra audiencia virtual.
Com
Quiero,
certeza.
quiero que sepas que tú estás en Río y yo en México. Y esta mañana varias personas aquí en México, porque hoy se inaugura la Feria de Arte Sonamaco, me mandaron mensajes diciendo que te admiran muchísimo. O sea, tienes todo un público acá en México. ¿Cómo ves?
Que bueno, isso me gusta mucho. Sí, claro, claro.
Ahora, para nuestra audiencia, quiero que sepan que Bella Geiger es una de las artistas más importantes y con una larguísima carrera del Cono Sur, y también en Nueva York ha trabajado en varios otros sitios del mundo. Es de origen polaca, brasileña, nacida en Brasil, pero de padres polacos. Y ha estudiado varias carreras, entre ellas literatura, sociología, historia de arte, obviamente, y ha sido también profesora, o sea que tiene un legado ahí de estudiantes y gente, alumnos que la han de estar siguiendo hasta ahora. Y la última vez que nosotras dos nos vimos fue creo que fue la inauguración de la Radical Women, Mujeres Radicales, curado por Andrea Junta y Cecilia Fajardo Gil para el Getty LA, en 2017, y la exposición vino a Nueva York, donde yo estaba en ese momento, y nos vimos
Isso.
en el Brooklyn Museum, ¿te acuerdas?
Já me acuerdo, claro.
Sí. Bueno, pues la obra de ella de Anabela, está en muchísimos museos, ha recibido muchísimos honores de la Guggenheim Fellowship, y en Brasil también varias. Y pues es un honor poder platicar contigo largo y tendido una hora y revisar la obra que has puesto en la pantalla de American Society, y algunas de las cuales están incluidas en la exposición que da origen a esta serie de pláticas, que se llama This Must Be the Place to Be, obviously. And she was there, very present, and her work is there, very present. And we invite everybody that is in New York to please go and see the exhibition. It's the second part of this exhibition, which was inaugurated in September, and then in January was slightly postponed due to the new Omicron threat in New York, and it is now open to the public. And we invite you all to come and look at the work in person. But we're happy to share at least a couple of the images here in her studio. And the first one that we're looking at is, let me see which one we are looking at. It is number...
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a series that she did called Visceral Objects. And they're three-dimensional. They're from 1966 and 67. And I believe that was also the time when you first showed these. I'm not sure if it was in the Bienal or where it was, but Mário Pedrosa, who is a friend of mine as well and collaborated in my magazine, apparently wrote about these for you, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, he wrote and he theorized about it, naming this series of works of mine of visceral phase. He said to me, you are in a visceral phase. When he told me phase, I found, I knew him very well, but I made like joking and said phase. I only know that Picasso had phases, but me, I mean, I'm very humble on that. But in fact, this phase that started around 66, I was an abstract artist since 53. I had been considered an abstract artist, and I have a long story on the 60s, taking part on the first exhibition of abstract Brazilian art. But this phase that you are showing the work is an etching from the visceral phase in which since 66, my work changed and I was using the organs of the body were interesting me as being the main thing. And I know this was also metaphoric because we were in the dictatorship that took more than 20 years. And I think that when I started this series, these works, I was answering as an artist to the situation. So the body, the bleeding of the body, and the aspects of choosing some organs like the eye, the liver. In this one is, I know it's very symbolic because I put a piece of meat that is cut and is bleeding. Yeah. But it's, yeah. And it's interesting that at the time I did, but I put some bleeding out and I said, I am a woman, I also bleed. I had this mind showing these things, but not telling, because the main thing was this metaphor for, I mean, we are being sacrificed in a place like meat. No? So this work, I called carne na tábua, meat on the piece of wood. No? Yeah, it's not where you put a piece of meat or you're going to cut something in wood. There is anyway, it's meat on the table. Yeah. So this
it is also very metaphorical because of the tremendous sophisticated ways of torture that the Brazilian dictatorship executed on people at that time. I mean, certainly the women's body and our lunar cycles and all the bleeding. There are many layers of significance.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I know. I thank you because it's like that. Yeah.
And if we move to the next one, now we're already like you full-fledged in using all of these different methods of printing, which you went also to a printing workshop, and I think it was a school for printing, where you learned all these different techniques. This is a photo silk screen called Lunar 5, 1973. Yes. And in a sense, you know, talking of lunar cycles, I mean, the blood and so forth, it makes sense to start thinking about the moon. But you explained to me, what is the left part, the black outline? What is that supposed to be referencing?
On the lunar series, you're asking, because the other series, the visceral, the work that you saw, there are many samples.
Sorry for interrupting. I'm actually referring to the image that's above you. Can you see it? On the Instagram, it's above our faces.
A bubble of faces. I'm seeing a picture of my work, Lunar.
That's the one. Yeah, and you see on the left, it has these black lines, outlines. And I'm wondering if that was to focus our vision on a particular aspect of the moon landscape.
It is exactly. You are guessing what it is. In 69, we know the man reached the moon. And of course, everyone was really, and I don't know why it came to my mind that the surface of the moon that they started to show in magazines and films, I said that's the perfect surface to say some things against the dictatorship. And I imagine it started like that, but I went to the American consulate in 70, and I asked, I was a little known as an artist, so they received me, and I said, I would like to know if you have some pictures of taken from the NASA. And they said, of course, we have a lot. And they gave to me like more than 30, in which, yeah, incredible. I was
amazing, how generous.
No, but not journalistic, the really ones that were sent to the earth, and it is written in the back, this one, the crater came not good, you know, things that are incredible. And I knew that I wanted to make from the moon, from the landscape of the moon, I said, this is the territory that I want to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to step in a little box on the moon and say some things about what is going on in my country. But one thing is what you wish to do, but in art, I really made some other thing. I took some of the images from NASA, I transferred into etching, and I started making some works in which I call, I picked up the geography of the moon. I mean, the geography of the moon, because we know that there is a cartography. I mean,
yes, definitely. Especially today, we have even more photographs and more sophisticated laser pictures outer space that are just like mind-blowing. The next picture is also a lunar of the lunar series, and it is a photo engraving in metal plus silk screen.
Exactly.
But this is a little bit more, let's say, it tends to be, at least from what I look at Instagram, it tends to be a little bit more abstracted. We know it's the moon, but there's an intervention there of color and the cropping, and the top is a black bar and the bottom is beige. So it's like sun and then water in the middle, the blue in the water. So it seems to be a little bit more symbolic, intervening with ideas of abstraction, even though it is a very representational piece.
Yeah, but it is also, this is a picture of the moon from NASA, from when they are approaching the moon, much further, but it is on the way. They were on the road, and the picture, the moon, with very neat, this picture. And they had, I just put up this side of the moon that they made the picture. And even on the other that you saw before, I was using silk screen for the color. By myself, in my atelier, I took a book and I learned how to make silk screen anyway.
Oh, great.
No, I bought a book in New York in '69, I remember. When I was there, my husband went to teach at the Columbia University, and I found a book incredible, teaching all kinds of print. I knew etching from working at the MoMA Rio since '60. There was an atelier, free atelier. I couldn't have it at home, you know, because you use, that's it. And this work.
How many of the moon maps or the photographs of the moon did you work into printing, prints, whether in silk screen or in metal?
Yeah.
How many did you, because they gave you a whole stack of them at the consulate, so.
Yes, that's it. And I chose some, I mean, I made like around 20 works, but not necessarily in all the pictures that they gave. Some of the pictures, they were more representative for what I was thinking about the surface. There is one picture that I took with me, and they said, but this one is has some scribble on that, like a cross. It's because they received these images and they would write things on the top. This one is not good. This is good. So this one, there is four craters, and one is not good. The other like a square. And I said, that is conceptually, because right and wrong is one of the works that I say certo e errado. This, you understand? So I was sending to dressing for myself, of course, what I wanted to say about the moment, you know. So some of these pictures, even this one that was all scribbled, interested me more than others that are very beautiful. I kept the pictures, but not all turned into being etchings, you understand? Yeah. I did that from 71 to 75, 74.
Now we are moving to another really marvelous series, El Pan de Cada Día, Our Daily Bread from 1978, which has a bag of bread on the left. Yes. And then there are several postcards on the right, and it was done in Rio de Janeiro, I believe. And it's about 17 by 12 centimeters each one. And if you can see it for the audience, the bread has been perforated with the map of South America. And in one of the top photographs, you see Arabella's hand actually in the process of creating the map inside of the bread. And this series, it seems that this series was also, I think it was a series of 3 or 5 editions that you did, or you did variations on the theme. One of them I did see at one point in a show at the Blanton Museum in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. They have. That's it.
And the next picture is another image of Our Daily Bread, more of a detail.
Yes.
And you see the hand is it's a little clearer to see the hand, and the 2 pieces of bread at the bottom, you can clearly see the map and the bread surrounding it, the map of America.
The map, in fact, the smaller map is Brazil, and the other one is Latin America, interpreted like this shape, which is very, very similar to the shape of Brazil now, almost a triangle. And I ate it step by step. So to be not with my hand, I did as if conceptually I had to do it the way, if I'm eating, it's going to be eaten. So I was eating in front of the photographer, and not to make a mistake, not, this one is not good, you understand? Going like a situation limit, I have to do it. And then it was like that, and the bread was this sandwich bread, Pullman,
the very soft one, right?
very
Yeah,
soft.
this is actually then more of a performative piece, documentation of a performance that you actually consumed the bread that you took out of each slice to leave the map of
Exactly that.
the map of South America and then the map of Brazil. It is remarkable how much they look alike, no? The smaller and the bigger.
Yes, and that's it. I mean, I couldn't make it perfectly. And this sandwich bread was a thick one, so it could stand by itself, because you see that the next pictures, they are standing by themselves on the table to make a strange picture. And the package, this package is very common in Brazil. I think it's a tradition from Portugal or from France that the bread, when they sell this big, this large French bread that we eat also here, they put in this baguette, they put in this large package in which
Technology.
yes, that's it.
We can go to the moon and back, but we're still stuck with the internet.
That's it. Without even at home, even inside the home, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was going to move immediately next, leave the bread and
Yes.
go to the next series, which is fascinating as well.
Thank
very,
you.
very powerful. There are these maps that you did, the cartography, the espacio social, social space.
Espaço social da arte.
Yeah, I've read somewhere, I think it was in the Hammer catalog, that your husband is a cartographer.
He's a geographer.
Geographer, right.
But a theoretical, a Marxist, he writes about geography and politics for his life,
But I mean, the Espacio Social de Arte that you wrote, the article, that gave way for you to then create this piece, which has it's a mappa mundi, I think.
Yes, it is. I wrote a text that was published in a newspaper in São Paulo. I was asked to write about espaço social da arte. I wrote a text, and then I picked up the text and I put inside the map. Eu meti no Márcio, lo puso escrito em máquina, in typewriting. All the text I accommodated inside this image, and then it is. There is a beginning, a middle, and an end, all typewritten. Yeah.
Wow. It's very hard to see on the small image.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You won't see.
That's
Look, when you come here.
It looks more like a weaving of sorts, like a textile weaving.
Oh, that's nice também. I also like I like textile, but it is a written text. I took a long time to accommodate even the equator that you see a line, but to say things about it is about Latin America and Brazil and the situation. I don't remember anymore what I wrote, but it is there. And then I printed it also in a silk screen. I made.
How many are there still around? Do you still have them?
How many what? Tell me again.
It was an edition, I think. No?
Yes, an edition, a small edition, because I always, when I propose to make an edition in engraving or silk screen, I I used to put in the 50s, 60s, I used to say, the edition of 25 or 20.
And I am looking at the 1978 drawing equations.
Yes.
And can you explain a little bit more about that work? Because it seems to again include the maps, the cartography, and
Yes.
But it's very small and it's on a notebook.
Yeah, that's it.
What is happening in the little left corner in the middle?
No, these are pages of quaderno, né? Quaderno.
Yeah, a notebook.
The pages are horizontal, né? And I picked up a whole quaderno. They are all numbered, 1, 2, 3 pages. So, and but I with the maps, with dealing with geography and with politics on geography and ideologies and so all the time up to now the map became my instrument and my image, né? The map, the world, but especially then getting more to the Americas, that I am from Brazil and Latin America and the United States, the importance of that, of those links, the contradiction, everything. So since I started to use the map since '69, even concomitantly to when I did the lunar, I was already making, but what matters is this one. So one of the things that with a certain maybe humor that I have, I started to see the maps as numbers and getting equations which are very complex. Instead of numbers, I put numbers too, but I put the images always from the map of Latin America, the 3 Americas.
Annabella, can I interrupt you? On the very left, there is a drawing that is slightly bigger.
Yes.
What is that? What is it? I can't figure out what it is. What is that?
No, everything is a drawing. Everything is a drawing.
Yeah, I know. But what does it represent?
It is also, if you see, which is more rubbish like that, it is a big Latin American geometrically, you know, but it is because I rubbed on a real small map. So you see the pencil, but it is also a Latin America big one, you know, but in between 2 parentheses, né? Which is the
one on the left. The one on the left looks more like it has some sort of metric band, a black band on the very left corner.
There is, you see, like a rule, but this is small numbers. They don't mean anything, but they mean that the size is so and so, and they are very small. So it's not, then this parenthesis, which means, I don't know, crazy, plus something that doesn't, and then comes small Latin Americas, and then come a big Latin America, and then all these added and divided, multiplied things, they come into nothing. You see, they come into nothing.
Yeah.
The end, nothing that I say, what to mean, some I use a 0. It depends on the equations. I did almost 40 equations, you know, on that time. I don't do it anymore. And I have exhibited this in the big exhibition about drawing in South America in the Museu del Barrio. You remember that there was?
Actually, that was a show that also came from the Blanton, that Mari Carmen curated.
Yes, exactly, from Mari
Yeah.
Carmen. Yeah, that's it. And
so
and
there is a detail of this in the next one.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Sophia, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, what you see and one South America on the top and other down, and then another kind of parentheses. I get into these signs, of writing.
Yeah. I can see on the very right, you have a what looks like a Z or a 7. A Z.
No,
like, no, I think it's 7.
No, it is because it's a pencil drawing. This sign of diverse, different, in sign of mathematics, you put 2 lines and 1 crossing. The meaning is different in mathematics, So I looked into signs, into mathematics and equations. Exactly.
Yeah, so it becomes actually a real equation, possibility of an equation.
Exactly that. The map that is colorful, the Brazil map before, he is igual, similar to that is diverse, I get into an hallucination of equations. Surrealistic equation.
You became the crazy mathematician.
Com certeza. And I have a son who is a mathematician. And I showed it to him years later. He said, it's okay.
So the next image is very intriguing, and I'd like you to talk about it. It's going in 4 parts, I believe. And
yes.
Again, it has all the mapping going one way or another, but there's also this interesting kind of calligraphy on the top left part of the drawing.
Yeah, this very simply, hello?
Yeah.
You hear? Yeah. Very simply, let's say, this is 78, I think. I propose myself in those cartographic searches that I tell you, what can I pick up from the ideological, from the political, and become art, because I'm not a cartographer. So I asked a cartographer, not my husband, a cartographer, who worked with him, and to say the same. I had an idea, and I did. I said, I'm taking the simple Mapamundi Mercator, which now even there is other Mapamundis, but this is perfect. I took it with this drawing, and I said, I want to transform into the same cartography how it would be if the world would be dominated by the oil. This was 78.
By what?
The oil, petróleo.
The petroleum.
Petróleo.
Yeah.
The domination of petróleo. So everything in the metamorphosis of the maps had to be moved to keep its connections, but the size of this part of the world near Africa on the petrol over there already on the side, it gets very big in the map, and the other part, and Brazil and Latin America stays the same size on the comparison, because we have also oil, Mexico, Brazil, and so I could make a little map with those drawings, maps. And then I did the other one. At the time, 78, Brazil was classified as underdeveloped. They were developed and underdeveloped. After we came into another classification after that, it's no more like that. But I said, and on the how to be developed and underdeveloped, also the whole transformation of the map shows Brazil keeps the same size, but Africa became a very strange line. I even made a joke. I said, looks like a bikini when you see, because it gets so bad drawing of that. But people understand because it's written developed and underdeveloped. And the third one, I put the idea of let me see, how is it?
No, I just want to interrupt you quickly with the thought that by the time the 60s arrived in Mexico, Mexico and several other countries in Latin America became known as nations on the way to development. Not underdeveloped, but on the way to development, whatever that means.
That's it.
They're walking towards development.
Yeah.
So I mean, very contradictory, no?
Yeah, I don't know Mexico, but the development had some similar situations with Brazil, and then we after that we belonged Brazil to like China and India. I don't know how it's called, but I didn't do any other work about. I did this one, and then culturally, the domination, cultural domination. Of course, United States grows, and then other countries they get like little, I don't know what, but proportionally
they're called little satellites.
Little satellites, but the sizes and the shape to continue to be their own outline.
To become bikinis finally.
Almost like that, but recognizable, because I'm always very like that, to be faithful to the shapes of the countries and the connections. What was very difficult, I stayed 3 months to come to the last point, but after that, I printed it in 4 handkerchiefs, linen handkerchiefs that you see.
Oh, you did? Wow.
And that's what you see. And I put in the sewing machine, I put the following. I put, you know how to sew in the machine, you do. So I'm
not very good at it, so.
No, but anyway, but I know a red thread under and a black thread up. So they make their own connection. And after I let the thread get very long, and then I pull the reds from the down, and then gets like a hair, gets like a, and then I let it fall. And it's interesting that the electricity of the thread with the linen attracts, and they get attached in the shape that they want, you know. So
that's a brilliant idea.
I don't know, because I sent to this exhibition at the Modern Museum of Varsovia. When it came back months later, because of the weather, all them were like, they were falling down like a curtain of threads, you know. But this is the work. It occupies like 80 centimeters by 80 centimeters, and it's called invariables. I call invariáveis, saying exactly what you said.
I would love to, purchase one of your napkins if they're still alive and well.
I will send one to you. I will send. I will be in New York only in September, but I will take.
Hopefully, I'll keep you posted. Sigamos con la siguiente imagen.
Sí.
Esperamos. Que es cerrado y abierto, ¿o cómo se llama?
Sí, se llama certo, errado, right and wrong.
Oh yeah, there we go, right and wrong.
Yeah,
yeah. And those are two metal bars there on the front. Is this like in a? It's been encased or?
Yeah, because this is one of the work. It belongs to the series of Lunar, and you see, this is the one, for instance, that I got the picture from the craters, and in the pictures the guys made the nicks of annulating, and then I put this on the top of the annulation, right and wrong. I mean, yeah, that's the work. This is an etching, totally made in etching.
And the next is a close-up, isn't it? Seems to be.
What?
Sophia?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a close-up. You can see the etching a little bit more.
Yeah, and you see some cliches I put right and wrong. I mean, this is the print. Yeah.
It's quite beautiful because of the X in the middle. At least in this particular format that we're looking at it. I don't know how it is in real life. How big is that?
The size of the work is like maybe 70 by 60, something like that.
Not that big.
No, not that big, because the etching on the middle, it was always very difficult to transform the image into etching. No?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
The next one is one that I really would like you very much to explain. I think that I have seen this image somewhere, maybe reproduced.
Yeah.
The title is also quite good, Burocracia. I mean, who hasn't dealt with that kind of yikes, yikes.
Yeah.
Awful.
I mean, well, I'm talking to you in Mexico. I think that, not that I think, the worst thing that we have besides dictatorships and so is the bureaucracy of Brazil. And the bureaucracy, of course, in Mexico, bureaucracy that comes from Portugal, and bureaucracy is a gun for us, for what we have to go to deal now with the time of vaccination. This became crazy, that one says that you have to go to, I don't know which office to get a license. Bureaucracy is what the bureaucrats love to deal in Brazil. The mentality.
Well, I think it's kind of like all over the world, because even though the internet, that you can now access your results of your vaccination and whatnot, the booster shots. I mean, it is the instructions on how to do that are just like they're created by bureaucrats that are sitting in an office, and if you go to the office, it's equally, it's a nightmare of having to stand in line and then nothing happens. Diga, conozco burocracia. Sí, la conocemos.
Sí, mas lo digo también arriba, mira, sobre la arte. Yo digo que estoy hablando del campo de la arte. It is a disguise, because I did that in 75, the first drawing that I made in black and white of these 4 women saying it. Then I developed into this one that you are seeing now, is a painting. And I kept this kind of painting, a very tough, very rough painting.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting, because it goes back to being very representational.
Exactly. But it is, I mean, I took this, you know, in the 20s, there was in the tram car in the 30s, I used to go on the tram car. And there was advertisements, little advertisements and one advertisement was for women saying it was something for the hair.
Oh, you mean like, yeah, like these products for, you know, to straighten out your hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was for women, all, I mean, with a face very, not moving the eyes, and the mouths would move. And, and this in the tram car, when I used to go in the tram car in the 30s, in Rio de Janeiro. And what happens is that when I picked it up, I started in 75, the first one in black and white. And then I started to put every time more. One of the paintings, for instance, is now on the Guggenheim Museum. And it is one of these ones, big one, in which already our colors, the colors of our races is...
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, I keep. So I start with a white woman.
And then a black woman, then a sort of
Sometimes,
pinkish, brownish.
Yeah. And the Indian also.
Mestizo.
Mestiços, sim, como são acá.
And that actually leads us to the next series of this indigenous.
Yes.
Brasil Nativo Alienígena of 1977.
Yes,
which has at the bottom, there is some images of yourself that are just hilarious. I mean, I can't imagine you being...
No, you can't believe. In my house, even the Indian that I am like that with this guy, the photographer waited days so that the sky would be blue like that. And the plants, we made believe that it is a forest, but it is in my house. And the Indian, of course, is in Amazonas.
So what were you thinking of becoming an indigenous native Brazilian?
No, not not exactly that. The story is like this was 75, 76, and I was looking on the those places that sell magazines in the street and so on. And we have every corner there is a place like that, and they sell postcards also. And I was surprised to see some pictures of the Indians, like this one. There are in the series, there are 18 postcards. There were some women, not necessarily from Amazonas, because we have Indians all over Brazil. So Mato Grosso is another place.
Yeah.
And in the coast also.
How many millions of indigenous are there in Brazil?
I have no idea, but I think that it augmented because there is more conscious people in the tribes and getting support from the government also. Of course, also the medicine goes over to Amazonas and up, down. Brazil is a long country. America, United States is on the contrary, it's an horizontal. So Brazil is in their maneuvers is much more difficult to deal with all these problems. But what I did is that I saw the postcards, and I found. Sim. I continue.
So I mean, did they actually think that those postcards were, you know, people were picking them up to send them home to, we're visiting Brazil, and this is the population.
Exactly. Touristic. And of course, in those bunkers, we call bunkers this place for the magazine, and
Do you
there
know
are
what we,
many.
do you know
Yeah.
what we call them? We call them estanquillos.
Isso, os tanquilhos são as bancas aqui.
Yeah.
In the United States, it has a name, we know, but never mind. What happens is that in those postcards...
Excuse me for interrupting you, Annabella.
Tell
but
me.
We went over our time, and the question is,
I know that. I know.
Shall we ask the public shall we see what questions there are out there so we can answer them?
Yeah.
There's no more questions from the audience.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the audience, and Annabella most of all, and there's Sophia in the background. Thank you for helping us getting this done, even though the technical little glitches happened in between. It was a great pleasure to spend time with you and your work, Annabella. I hope we have an opportunity again soon. Thank you very much.
I hope so. And a big hug on you, Carla.
A big hug for you. Big hug.
Abraço apertado. Tá?
Isso. Abraços. Bye.
Abraços. Bye, bye.